Giyu Tomioka from Infinity Castle trailer. This cool close-up of him, 3/4 pose. I am on a landscape page. Use a pencil, use an eraser, hit pause. If I go to fast, cool, blue glowing, water breathing eyes. Head me in here. Diagonal. And then across the top. Very sharp, spiky eyes in Demon Slayer. Up this way. Come back. Down. This is always thick and dark. They usually do an extra line there and there. Bottom eyelid, it's kind of like a V. And then his circular. It is circular in this one. Sometimes in Demon Slayer they do like angles, so you could do that if you wanted. You could do some angles, or you could keep it a bit rounder. It's up to you. And then he's kind of looking over to the right hand side. Now his pupil is like a dark blue. It's not black. So you could color it black if you really wanted to, like a manga sort of drawing, but it's sort of just dark blue in there. So I'll leave it like this. And then we'll add the blue color. So there's some lines underneath. Eyelid line on top. Back there. Eyebrow above. It kind of goes this way. But it's black and thicker at the front, so we gotta add a little spot that we can color in and just bring this. It gets real thin as it goes backwards here. Right, and then like his eyelash, it's black inside. Bit of a frown line there as well. His other eye is behind his nose, right? So his nose sort of starts here. It's like an L shape, like a capital letter L. Kind of has a bit of a curve in it, just coming down that way, like a curvy L. And then the nostril there. And then we get some hatching on the bridge of the nose. At the top, it sort of turns into a Z. So this kind of curves up for his brow area. So it goes like that way. It's just like a Z kind of. And then his other eye comes out from here. Now you can only see a little bit of it because he's like, it's tucked in behind the nose. So we can see like the top eyelash. And it kind of comes back in and goes down, right? And this is like dark in here. The eyeball, you can see the side of it. Curves back in to the nose. And then we get like an eyelid and his cheek just there. That's like your shape for his eye. The color part, the blue part, is like tucked in behind the nose, so you can just see like half of it. So it curves down around into there. And then that blue pupil again, just sort of tucked in, looking up to the right. 3/4 pose, so everything's like smaller on this side of his face. Nearly profile. So this side of his face is much smaller than this. So we got a V, boop, and color black. Now that's his eyebrow. Like it would go to his forehead, but he's got hair here that covers it. His mouth. looking real grumpy just below his nose. Down, sharp angles here, down to there. And the Demon Slayer, they do a thing with the lips where they make the sort of the center section a little bit darker than the rest. It's like they add a little shadow, but it's done with a line weight. So that's that portion, that angle is like a thicker line than this and this. Just a little trick they do. And then he's got that sort of triangle on his chin, or just like between his bottom lip and his chin. It's for a shadow. And then his chin itself here. It's a little curvy angle. And you can see like the angle of his face now as well. So we join his cheek to his chin. There. And then his jaw. There. And the rest is hair. He's got some scratches on his face as well, but we'll get like his hair in first. So we go, boom. How far up does that go? It probably goes right up, but you can't see the top of his head in this one. So we'll just go as far as we can with them. Very long hair, long fringe lines coming down. Across his face. Boom. That probably goes a bit higher up as well. The spikes sticking out here. Now this one probably goes up maybe off my page, like going that way. One more. In the trailer, like this part's kind of cut off, so I'm not really sure. I know he does have like bumpy angles on top usually, but it kind of gets cut off on top. A few more little spikes sticking out here. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4. One more. And then more here and down behind his back. Where does that go? Okay, so this seems to like going behind another one. And then we get another one here. Da-da-da-da-da. And we just keep going. So he's got like a ponytail sticking down here, but it's just, it's very dark, so it's, you can just kind of see the outline of it. Kind of just goes like this, and eventually it kind of disappears behind his shoulder in there somewhere. So I imagine there is some texture lines and stuff, but it's kind of just black. Might be an odd shadow here and there. So big shoulder green and yellow here. So we'll do that first. So sort of bumps for that loose kimono sort of clothing that they wear. And then his sort of back goes down this way. There is all those cubes, but I'll get in the main stuff and then I'll probably do that pattern last, right? A bit complicated. So we'll just motor through the rest. This is his collar. Get the neck in there. And we got a button at the front of his uniform there. And then the red part of his clothing. 2 curve lines for the front of it. And then we got like a shoulder line here. And another. And then down his arm, so all these bumpy sort of clothing lines folding around his forearm. Like there's another one kind of here that'll kind of change the blocks, actually, the way they work. Okay, so we get his sword hands in and the sword, and then I'll do the green and yellow stuff. Dark sleeve, and then he's got a white sleeve. And then his hand comes out of here, so you just do this sort of bump, double bump with wrist bones on the side of the wrist. This side of his hand goes underneath the handle for the sword, but this side is the thumb, so the thumb comes out over the top. Hands are difficult now, so take your time. Hit pause if I move too fast. The other fleshy part of the thumb inside there, that curve. We got a thumbnail. And then his index finger. Next finger. Each of these goes behind the thumb, but the next 2 are kind of visible outside of it, so I'll just get the backs of them in first. And then you can see the pinky and the ring finger kind of coming down this way. Kind of like that. And then we got some sort of fingernails just in here. The handle of the sword then goes down into the next hand, which is an overgrip. This is like an undergrip, and then this is an overgrip, so it's alternating, so it goes the opposite direction to these fingers. So this goes off the page. Obviously it's cut off by the cropping of the image. Just fingers, then knuckles going down like that, a layer of them, and then you can see his sort of knuckle lines here. Like so. And that's all you can see of that hand, really. He's got blue diamonds on the handle. Okay, the hilt of his sword. Up. Angles on it. Down into here. And then there's like a little weaving pattern inside there, so it goes up across there. You can see a bit of that coming out there. And then like lines, so there's like an edge line where here. And then this. Excuse me. Boom. So then his sword goes back that way, behind his head. Kind of curving. And then we have an inside. Down there. Of course, there's all lettering on that, but I can't do that, I hope. Feel free to add it if you want. Just imagine it's the other side of the sword. So, let's try and do the pattern on his clothing. So, let's see. This is kind of complicated. Sometimes people don't like to draw this, but which I understand because it's hard. What are we looking at here? So there's cubes. But they're all sort of their shapes are distorted, right? Because of his clothing. The way it sort of goes, right? So these are all like cubes, right? If you've never drawn a cube before, obviously that'll make it a bit harder, but you just have these boxes that kind of like slot together. See? You cannot make out what's here. So I'm going to make it up. Boom. So that should be a cube as well, question mark. And then I'm going to guess like that goes that way and there or something. Right, and then this, and it's like it's all wavy in here. So like double difficulty. Right, so you're just kind of breaking it up into different cubey shapes. What else? Up here too. There. There's like stuff in here. Step 1, draw cube. Step 2, finish. And boom. Right, and then like some of the boxes have boxes inside them. Yay. I always try and avoid drawing Giyu's cubes on his clothing. Because it's ridiculous. I don't know how they animated it. It must be like a computer thing. It is cool though. My younger brother got this pattern on a jumper, like a sweatshirt, you know. It's cool. I wanted it. Am I missing anything? Probably. He has scratches on his face, actually. But it's good enough for me. Giyu Tomioka, Demon Slayer. Can't wait for Infinity Castle. Hope it's helpful. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.